Hello Year 1, today we're going to do some whole class reading together. So we did a really good job of this last term before Christmas. We were reading Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and you did a really good job of being able to read along with me or fill in the gaps when I leave you a gap. So we're going to see if we can do that again. Even though you're all in separate different houses, we can still all be reading together. So today we're going to concentrate on a new book, and we're going to really think carefully about predictions and predicting or guessing what we think is going to happen next using some clues from the writing or maybe even from the pictures. And we're going to read the book that you can see the front cover of there in the video, called Suddenly by Colin McNaughton. We'll have a look in a minute at some of the key vocabulary, but have a little go now at thinking a prediction, a guess. What do you think is going to happen in this story? Press pause on the video and have a little think about what you think is going to happen, and then come back and we'll go and have a look at reading some of it. Okay, now that you've had a think about what you think might happen, let's have a look at some of the words when we're reading this book. There's really only a few main words this time in our book. Now you can see the first one here. I'll just circle it for you. That one is the word suddenly. That's the name of the book. So on the front cover it had a capital letter because it was the name of the book. But that is going to happen a lot in this book, so we need to remember that word. It's suddenly. Do you think you know what that word suddenly means? Have a little think. Okay, the suddenly is when something unexpected or something that we are not expecting is going to happen next. And usually suddenly is followed by something exciting or something scary or something that we really didn't think was going to happen. And then suddenly it happens. And it's something we can use in our stories as well. We've got another word down here which is underneath the picture, and this one has got a capital letter because this is the pig's name. This word here says Preston. That's the pig's name, Preston. And we're going to need to know about him because he's the main character in our story, and we follow his story all the way through. So that's the word Preston. So far we've looked at two of the main words. The first one was suddenly, see if you can point to that one. And then the second one was Preston, the name of the pig. Have a look at the shape of the word, have a look at the letters in the word so you'll know it when we come across it. Okay, the next word we're going to look at is this tricky word down here. Now hopefully you should all be able to read that one. Have a little look at it. Remember, it's a tricky word. You can't sound out a tricky word. You just have to say it. And that one is the word was. The word was. We're going to need that one as well a lot because in a lot of stories the story happens in the past, so we use the word was. Now the last one is not a word. I've cheated a little bit with this one, but it's some punctuation, and it happens at the end of a sentence. Have a think if you know what that punctuation might be called. It's not a full stop, it's something else. Not a question mark, something else. It's an exclamation mark. Now an exclamation mark can be used when something happens that is different from what we expect, or it could be that it's meaning that somebody is shouting, or it could be that something is happening that's giving us a bit of a shock. So that exclamation mark we'll see a few times in this story, and we use it quite often instead of using a full stop if we're going to be shocked or if we're shouting something. So let's have a look at the book, and I may well get you to read this now, and I'll read it and then you fill in the gaps when we get to one of these key words, and hopefully with us going through them now you should be really good at recognizing them when we're reading. So here's the start of the story, the front cover. It's called Suddenly and it's by Colin McNaughton. See if you can spot that exclamation mark. Yeah, it's right there at the end of suddenly. So it's like we're saying suddenly. There's a little bit more of a shock to the idea of suddenly, okay? Right, let's see if we can read it. Remember, I'm going to pause when we get to one of those key words, and I want you to fill in the gap, and then I will continue. Are you ready? Follow it. If you've got a pencil or your finger you can follow it with on the video, that would be brilliant too. Okay, Preston was walking home from school one day when suddenly, what do you think is going to happen next? Pause the video and have a think about what you think will happen next. Then we'll read on to find out if you're right. Pause the video here. Okay, let's see if you're right. Preston remembered his mum had asked him to go to the shops. Were you right? Did you predict that this would happen? Did you predict that the wolf would fall over and bang into something? Did you predict that Preston would walk off? Let's have a look at the next bit. Preston was doing the shopping when suddenly okay, did you expect that to happen? He dashed out of the shop. He remembered he had left the shopping money in his school desk. Okay, so we've had a little think about predicting just little bits as we're going through the story. But now I want you to have a think about predicting what you think will happen at the end of the story. We've had a little think through the beginning there, but we haven't finished the end of the story. What will happen at the end? So I'm going to leave you there, and you can have a really good think about what you think is going to happen at the end of the story, and then we'll come back to that story on Thursday in your reading lesson. So we can read a little bit more. Remember those key words that we've looked at, because those are going to come in handy again on Thursday when we're reading the rest of the book. So one job to do while you're waiting for Thursday, think about what you think will happen next in the story. You can just think about it, you can tell somebody in your house about it, you can draw it, you can write it, it's up to you. And we'll find out on Thursday whether or not you were correct. Bye for now.